And so we've got a set of 90% complete plans here. If anybody would like to look at them. Basically, phase 2 is going to be from Weekly Creek intersection all the way up to Claymore. And we're going with, as previously discussed, it's a 2 driving lanes in both directions. Excuse me, 1 driving lane in both directions and a center turn lane with curb and gutter on both sides. And we will bid it with sidewalk on both sides for the full length, with the possibility of reducing some of that sidewalk length depending on what the bid amounts are. If budget restraints require us to eliminate some of that sidewalk, that'll be done on the north side, I believe on the east side of the road. Yes, sir. So with that, I'm open for any questions, any discussions. If we want to look at specific locations on the plans, we can do that.
You're going to put all new curb and gutter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It'll be different from the first phase in that regard. It'll be all new curb and gutter. So the road will be completely reconstructed.
And is your plans have sidewalks right now on both sides of the street?
Correct. Yes, sir.
All the way?
Yes, sir.
All right, next question. Is there any plans to do anything from First Street to Highway 64?
Yes, we will be resurfacing that section. It's the assessment on the structural integrity came back very well. It's held up pretty well, so we'll be taking about 1 inch off of the top, milling it, and then coming back and resurfacing and restriping it.
Replacing a tile there about where Envy is.
Are we going to use the milling material back, or are we going to use all new mix?
We will bid it to allow for the contractor to recycle that milled material if he chooses to, and that way we give an option to the contractor to do that, thereby, in theory, allowing for potentially some cheaper prices on the paving material. If they do choose to use that recycled asphalt material, we will have a specification in the spec book that matches TDOT specification for recycled asphalt.
And is the sidewalks going to be all the way up to Claymore?
Correct. Yes, sir.
We're not going to go all the way to Cruz Street?
Not at this time.
Not at this time. That wasn't a part of this.
Both projects go at the same time, will be separate times, as far as from First Street to.
Both would be under the same contract.
Gotcha.
And then there'll be some coordination with the contractor on getting the portion in front of the school done while school's out in the summer. So that'll kind of be the primary focus initially, and then they can move from there kind of out to whichever direction they'd like to go.
So same sort of deal as far as when we did phase 1 of this project, street closures and getting folks in and out of homes and all that sort of stuff.
Correct. Yes, sir.
There's a spot up at the north end of Spring Road that's already coming apart. Is it possible that there's water under that, or is it where it was tied in?
That's where it's tied in, and we've incorporated that portion. The whole intersection is going to be redone, as you know. It's going to be widened in all 4 directions. So that'll be part of that work, and we'll get back in there, and that's where it was tied back into that old less than suitable material that's under there. So that'll be part of it.
Can you speak on the Weekly Creek and Spring Road intersection? I think that might be.
Yeah, I spoke, and Ms. Jones, is that correct? I spoke with Ms. Jones yesterday, and she was in Mr. Edwards' office, and they gave me a call, and we kind of walked through it, and would be glad to show her kind of that intersection and how it may have an effect on
See, I have some.
her property.
You need to plow her front yard up and plant a garden. What do you think about that, Mary?
I don't
She
think
likes all
so.
that help.
The portion, just so you can see what we're looking at, the portion of Weekly Creek Road, it will go approximately to the driveway we'll be adding a center turn lane, a left turn lane to the driveway that accesses the duplexes that sit back off the road. At that driveway point is where we start to taper back to existing edge of pavement. And it will be back to the existing edge of pavement roughly around that utility pole that is on the west side of that driveway, which is, I think, about where your property line
Yeah,
begins.
see, here's part of mine. That's my driveway.
Mhm.
So that's where, those are the 3 mailboxes.
Yes, ma'am.
And so it's gonna tie in, and so, shouldn't go any further than that then, right?
Yes, ma'am. That's correct.
And it'll go all the way up to here.
It'll go all the way to the
Yeah, to the
intersection.
intersection.
It's approximately 250 feet from from the center line intersections of Weekly and Springer Road, and that's both directions of Weekly is about 250 feet off of the intersection there.
You wanna see where your dad's? Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And will the turn lane go in front of the high school? Does it go all the way up Springer?
That turn be a
Thank you.
north-southbound lane and a turn lane all the way to Burline, correct?
Correct.
Burline's where everything starts transitioning back.
Okay.
And during our design, we had multiple discussions with both schools, the college and the high school, and making sure that, well, first of all, make sure we didn't design anything that hindered certainly their traffic flow, and incorporated any suggestions that they had on what would help them in their traffic flows. So, and I think, Jerry, you're going to be doing a couple little things there.
The mayor has we're gonna do some things to help high school, because they have a load and unload on Springer Road now, with parents bringing their kids to school.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna do a little work inside of their existing driveway, because that parking is gonna be gone when this is done. They're gonna have to come in and load and unload. And we've got a little work that I'm gonna do inside the school property.
They can serve as
Serve as their drop off and pickup.
their lane.
Yes, their lane.
You had another line here to the drop off.
To the drop off down front in front of the schools. We're doing.
One line. here?
Not so much one as an entrance and exit lane, just in front of the school.
I have a question about Springer. How do you plan on addressing the access to Envy at 212 Springer, and will it be closed for any time?
It should be, Jerry. All that down there is, like I say, that culvert, that tile under the road right there. The day that they do that, you know, people will be able to get you from the north side. It may be closed for that day to lay that line there.
Just one day?
But as far as the road, it just gets milled and topped.
Right.
There's no major work down there.
Fine.
And you should be open
Good.
access.
It's a busy part of the year.
Well, they get notified
Everybody needs to take
as
it.
early as you can
As
so
early-
that he
as
can
early-
schedule their,
Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
good.
When's this project supposed to start?
We, with your authorization today to seek bids or seek advertisement for bids, we're anticipating opening bids end of May, 1st of June, and then hopefully starting
When's school? out?
mid to late June.
Late May.
Late May,
Late May.
yeah.
Late May.
Maybe 23rd, something like
If I remember correctly, they got finished, the southern project early, but there wasn't any sidewalks. That curb and gutter and sidewalks gonna take some time.
Yes, sir.
And I think you're gonna write it up in the contract to concentrate on in front of the school first, and on
Yes.
the school side while school is out. And if
Yeah.
everything goes well, we're hoping that section is done, except hopefully topping.
We're going to look at putting specific calendar days for the section in front of the school, so that, and we'll get with the schools on when the start time is for in the fall, and we'll make sure that that's their primary focus when they start. be all new striping, crosswalk striping, all the sidewalks will have handicap ADA compliant curb ramps with the textile squares at each one. Sidewalk portions will be 4 feet, and then some portions will be 5 feet for the ADA compliance for the grant work is what that's required.
Let me ask one, I've already asked this question, but just to clarify, are the sidewalks going from Weekly Creek to Burline? Is that as far as the sidewalks are going?
No. Yes and no. It all depends on the money.
Well,
He has designed it from Burline on up to Claymore to the apartments,
sidewalks all the way to Claymore,
provided the money.
both sides.
Both sides.
Yes, sir.
Provided the money. And if the money's not right, then that's the end. We'll kick it back to one side and they will go on the east side. Correct?
Correct.
In front of the school, the 4-foot sidewalk will be on the west side, and we'll have a 5-foot on the school side, down to Weekly Creek. We's also, in front of the school, we're adding some drainage. Starting there, is it Morris?
Yes.
The plan for that is hopefully at Burline, we can take that, and we're gonna take the other dip out, correct?
My understanding was for heritage purposes, we were going to leave that one. Yes, we're taking both dips out.
We're taking all that out, so there will be some drainage, some tile put in there, storm sewer.
Most of the storm sewer's relatively small in nature, 18-inch
Yes.
is, so it won't be real cumbersome.
I've heard more about Springer Road. And I've tried to explain to them why it goes like that, but they don't understand.
This
But every
section,
time you come to a cross street, it's,
right.
you know,
This section will be a little bit better because we're not having to tie into the old curb and gutter elevations. We were, obviously you're very limited in how you can change the center line profiles when you're tying into existing curb and gutter. There's only so much you can do.
We'll touch on that we're actually shifting the center line about 3 foot, if you
Yeah,
would, for these guys.
the center line, for the most part, all the work will take place within the existing right of way. There's no new right of way that's going to be needed. Correct.
Correct.
And then for the most part, we're going to be able to incorporate the back of sidewalk to back of sidewalk into the existing edge of pavement width. And we'll be shifting the center line location about 3 feet once we get the striping and stuff done.
to the east.
To the east. Once it's done, nobody will know where the old center line was, where the new one in relation to the new one. But that's the plan that we're able to incorporate that because, as you know, the existing width of pavement far exceeds your standard 2-lane road. So we're going to be able to utilize that for the most part. And we'll have, once the advertisement for bids goes out, we always send a set of plans. Jerry will have a set of plans at his office. Chris will have a couple sets of plans here at City Hall for anybody to come in, certainly any contractors that are proposing may want to bid on it, and then any citizens that would like to come in and take a look at them. We'll have 2 sets of plans here at City Hall for those to be viewed during regular business hours if anybody chooses to.
Can a contractor just bid on the curb and gutter and the sidewalks, or or do they have to bid on the whole project?
In a project like this,
Yeah.
you would have a primary contractor that would bid on everything,
And they'd
and
sub
then they
out
would
the-
sub it
yeah.
out potentially.
Okay.
Wish we had another baseball tournament we were trying to
I've got a good one here, Jerry.
beat.
Thank you.
Yeah, there too. They've had some over there,
They had a good turnout last weekend
They sure
up there.
did.
I mean,
like
if
the
you
mayor
wouldn't
said, I
know
guess
that.
that's what he was referring to. That's
Last
what we
weekend.
got those, facilities for, and they're taking advantage of them right now.
Will it have to be a utility movement?
Yes.
This one too?
Got 8 fire hydrants to relocate, about 5 or 6 poles. We gotta move the meter pit for the northeast utility district. And then, set 4 new poles for the mast arms for the new lights and the new control panel. So we'll have a lot of work to do.
AT&T is supposed to move theirs, correct?
The latest correspondence we've had with AT&T is that they're putting all their stuff underground at their own expense. That's their choice. Potentially.
That's all I've got.
What would it